You're listening to Everybody Pulls the Tarp, the go-to podcast for high performers. I'm Andrew Moses. Each week, you'll hear my thought-provoking conversations with Olympians, pro athletes, CEOs, elite coaches, best-selling authors, and other high performers to uncover their secrets to success. Get ready to be inspired each week when we talk about leadership, teamwork, work ethic, and more. Are you ready? Let's go. This week, my guest is LA Chargers star running back Austin Ekeler. Austin is one of the most exciting and versatile players in the NFL today. In 2021 and 2022, he led the NFL in total touchdowns and established himself as one of the top players in the entire league. Just last season, Austin broke the Chargers' single-season reception record with 107 catches. Yet, despite all of his success, the path for Austin has never been easy or assumed. In high school, Austin was lightly recruited and overlooked by Division I college football scouts. He went on to play at the Division II level, where he starred for Western Colorado University. And when it came time for the NFL draft, Austin was once again underestimated. He was undrafted, but eventually signed a free agent contract with the LA Chargers in 2017. From there, the rest is history. Everything in Austin's career is a testament to his work ethic, determination, and extraordinary self-belief. In addition to his success on the field, Austin applies the same energy and commitment off of it as well. He launched the Austin Ekeler Foundation with a mission of creating opportunities for others, and also recently launched Eksperience, an engagement platform that lets talent and creators offer one-of-a-kind experiences to their communities. Austin is also passionate about building his real estate portfolio and connecting with entrepreneurs. Austin and I sat down just days before the start of the 2023 NFL season to explore his journey and the secrets behind his extraordinary success on and off the field. In our conversation, Austin shared the mindsets, techniques, and philosophies that have powered his journey from undrafted free agent to one of the NFL's biggest stars. This episode is filled with powerful lessons to help you make the most of every opportunity, personally and professionally. It's also an important reminder of what's possible when we dedicate ourselves to building connection and community with those around us. I can't wait for you to hear our conversation. So, let's pull the tarp and get straight to NFL star Austin Ekeler. Austin, I am super excited to get into your story. Where I want to begin, I want to go way back to your childhood. You spent a lot of time working on a ranch. Now, I've got to believe that played a part in shaping this immense work ethic and grit that you bring to the field and your career every single day. Take me back to that childhood working on the ranch. What was that experience like?
Yeah, I think, when you're younger in your life, you don't necessarily know the lessons that you're learning. You're just kind of being drug along this childhood, depending on whoever's taking care of you, kind of like paints that path for you. And for me, a lot of that path was painted on the field of football and then also other sports, but then a lot of it at home being out on the ranch where we had like 5 head of horses, some cattle, some chickens, goats, even a donkey at one point. And so there was a lot of responsibility that was put on my shoulders. I was the oldest of my siblings, so my little brother and I, and then my mom's husband at the time was never really around. He was always traveling, working. He built fence for a living. And so the responsibility really sat on my shoulders to take care of all these animals. And so I really learned at a young age on how to work and what responsibility was. And that's kind of where that grit and work ethic really started for me.
When you're having a rough go of it in the weight room or things are not going well on the field, do you ever take a step back and think to those days on the ranch and say, this is a heck of a lot better than what I was doing over there with building the fences?
Yes, absolutely. When I go through my job, and now that I actually enjoy my job, it's a lot different. Yeah, because back then I was just trying to do everything I could to get out of there. And that's kind of what put me on this path to the NFL and to, all the other endeavors I have going on off the field, is to not be back in a situation that I was at, which is a toxic environment. And when I'm in the weight room, and it's changed my mind, because now I look forward to the challenges that I have, because I can appreciate them, because I understand the value that they're going to bring to me. Like for the weight room, for instance, that's what you mentioned. Like, most people go to the weight room like, oh, I'm going to go work out. But it's like, for me, it's like, I'm going to go challenge. I'm going to go push my mind mentally. Like, can I continue to go when it's burning, when it's hard? Because back when I was a kid, like I hated doing it, but now I love doing it because I can see the benefit. I know where it's going to take me. And I know that it will be transferable. Those skills will be transferable to other things that I'm doing in life. And it's the same thing with all my other endeavors. Like I'm starting an app. Like I have no business, starting an app. I don't know anything about tech, but I'm like, let me take on this challenge and let me continue to bring it on because I'm looking forward to that. And because of the experiences I've gone through has really made my mental capacity at a point where I'm always continuing to try to broaden it because I wanted to try to find something better for myself. And it's kind of become who I am. And now that's why, we can get into it later. That's why I have all these other things going on as well as football.
Speaking of football, and Austin, we'll get into it all. You've got the Eksperience app, you've got the Austin Ekeler Foundation. You're doing so many great things. You just got engaged, so you're busy everywhere. I'm curious though, when did football come into your life, and at what point?
Yes, sports were always a point of my life, and as long as I can remember, like when I was able to play soccer, my mom got me into soccer. And same with football. I started out playing flag football. I believe for 1 or 2 years. So I was really young. It was before I was eligible to play tackle football in the state of Colorado. So it was like 7, 8, or 9, somewhere around there. And I've been playing ever since.
And was it love at first sight, or was it something that you just felt like you were supposed to do? Like I'm always curious to ask people that pursue this path. Like, was it love at first sight, or was it just something you kind of did?
No, it was definitely something that I kind of did. If you would ask me what my favorite sport was, I would have said bass fishing, if you consider that a sport. Like I wanted to be a professional bass fisherman when I was growing up. We didn't really watch mainstream sports at all because we were out on the ranch. We grew up in the cowboy life. I grew up watching the PBR, which is professional bull riding. Chris Shivers was the guy that I looked up to. He was a really good professional bull rider. Him and Ty Murray were bull riders. And I had a cousin that coached at the University of Nebraska. And that's the only reason we really watched anything besides my games was because we wanted to watch Mike out there coaching, Nebraska. And so I didn't really watch the pros. I didn't really watch college. And so sports were just really a way for me to get away from working and actually have fun and be in a competitive atmosphere. And my mom loved to push me, and she was big into sports as well. And so she wanted to get me signed up for everything that she could. She was a school teacher, so she was around it all the time anyway. And it was a great way to honestly have something for me to do that was close to town, because I grew up on a ranch, but we were 25 miles away from my school. So it wasn't like I was hanging out with friends after school. It was like, I got to get home. It's a 30-minute drive home. And so sports, and specifically football, were just a portion of that mindset that I was able to build, but a way for me to get away from going back home and pitching hay to the horses and breaking ice in the winter. So yeah, it was a way for me to get away from pitching hay to the horses. And, during the off season, I would go to like football camps and basketball camps, because it was either we're going to camps or we're going to build barbed wire fence. And so there was a lot of working, a lot of responsibility kind of all throughout my childhood. And, when we were building barbed wire fence, it wasn't like, oh, let's like build this for this neighborhood. It was like miles long along the railroad, along the rivers to keep cattle off the railroad tracks, off the highways. I think the biggest job we ever did was 26 miles of barbed wire fence. And so this is like real manual labor jobs for the state. And it was, a way for me to learn what real manual hard work was. And like I said, I hated it at the time, but the transferable skills that I learned from it have definitely contributed to my success today.
6 miles, literally a marathon of barbed wire fence you're building there. Unbelievable. Austin, I'm curious, you mentioned your mother and the fact that she was a teacher, or she is a teacher, and she played a lot of sports. I'm always curious to ask people who grow up in the same home as a teacher, like, what do you learn from just observing a teacher? I've got to believe there's a lot of lessons to take away from just watching a teacher in action.
Yeah, my mom was definitely one that was putting pressure on me for my grades. She was a math teacher. I was good at math, not necessarily because of her, but math became easy to me. And then obviously it was great to have her as a math teacher to help me in that category as well. And then also being around her husband at the time. So my stepdad, they're no longer together, but he was a guy who just graduated at high school, didn't go to college or anything. And then also, was running his own business. And so that's where I started to use math. I loved numbers. I was around business. And so that really became one of my passions, is trying to build things. And then That's what we did for a lot. We were building fence. I'm building myself up in the weight room. So this building principle really became prominent in my life as I was around even my mother, who wanted me to continue to build my education up and then also continue to build myself up in sports. And then at home, where I'm building just character and building mental toughness, having to take care of all these animals and then take care of my little brother as well and be kind of this figure in the home where I'm the oldest boy. So building has become a pretty predominant part of my life. And it's one of the things I love to do most, probably because that's what I've been doing for as long as I can remember. But being around a teacher, I saw her work really hard. I saw her take care of a lot of different people. And so she brought that same type of nurturing back to our house as well and really took care of us. But it was more of a tough love. My mom she calls herself a boy mom, where she's tough love. She was a tomboy herself. And so she's definitely rugged around the edges in a fashion which suited the country lifestyle, as you can imagine. And that's kind of, like I said, where my background is. You can start to see why I am the way I am once I start to tell my story.
You sure can. And there is no question, Austin, you are a builder. And we spent a lot of time on this show talking about building. And you hit on a lot of the things that people build. People build companies. They build their body up into a place and a level that they can perform. They build families. They build friendships, communities. Building if you're a builder, it can be a really, really powerful tool. And you're using it in so many powerful ways. Sticking with football for a moment. So you have this great high school career from a football perspective, but you're overlooked by like all the Division I colleges, most of the Division II colleges. You go to Western State Colorado University, which is now called Western Colorado University. There's like 8 running backs on the depth chart when you get there, if I'm not mistaken. What's the mentality going into that equation? I mean, obviously, you're not going there to play in the Rose Bowl. You're not going there probably thinking that there's an NFL draft ticket coming your way. How do you get into the mindset to go and compete and build in college football?
For me, going out of high school, I was looking for a way out of my current situation. Like I said, it was pretty toxic there, especially as my mom was getting a divorce there at the end. And I was like, I need to get out of here. I need to get my life going. So actually the day I graduated, threw my hat up in the air, had my truck already packed, and I went up to Gunnison, Colorado, where my college was. And I was going to train to be a raft guide for the summer up in the mountains. And that was going to be my job to get me by. I was going to work out with the team while I was there. And so during that time, I really didn't know what to expect, but I knew that I was on my own. Like, this is me. Like, I got to go out here. I got to start my life. I'm going to go get to work. That's what I knew. That's what I want to go do. I'm going to go get to work. I'm going to provide for myself. And then also I'm going to start working out with the team and start meeting people and kind of see where I can fit in. And so I do that. And going back to my opportunities, I didn't really have a lot. And so Western was the only one that offered me to play running back and was the only one that really gave me a shot as far as a scholarship. And so everyone else wanted me to come on as like a preferred walk-on and see where I could fit in. And so I was definitely loyal to this place. It was like, okay, this is my opportunity. It wasn't the biggest opportunity. It wasn't the best. I didn't have any thought in my mind about the NFL during the time. I didn't know if I was going to start, what was going to happen. Like you said, there was 8 other people at my position. So there was 9 of us total. And for me, it was like, okay, this is not the best, maybe not even the most ideal opportunity, but it is something. And for me, it's exactly what it was. So I took that and I ran with it. And what that meant was I immersed myself into my football career because I knew my opportunity was going to be with my education for me to continue to further my life, right? I wasn't thinking about the NFL. I was thinking about, okay, use football to pay for school. And to do that, I need to play the best that I can to increase my scholarship. We don't get full rides at Division II. So to increase my scholarship, I need to make sure that I'm getting like awards, freshman of the year, all conference, academic All-American, all of those type of accolades. And so I was really focused on continuing to do well in football. And guess what? I was continuing to do that. And I continued to increase my scholarship every single year. I continued to network I got into the business school and went into energy management, which is a degree that you had to be accepted in. You had to go through an application process. So I had really good grades. I was really focused on, okay, like education, football to pay for education, go network. I ended up getting an opportunity. I got a internship with Noble Energy. And as I'm going through this, I've just finished my junior year and my coach comes to me and is like, look, man, you have some opportunities maybe at the next level that, people are reaching out about and asking about you. And in my head, I'm like, I can't even think about that right now. I need to take care of this opportunity. Like, this is what's going to get me to the next thing. And that's my education. And so I'm like, yeah, that's cool if that happens, but I got to focus on what I have right now because I can't control that. And then so come back my senior year, I actually get a job offer from Noble Energy for internship. I was like, look, I love that you gave me a job offer, but I have one more semester of football to go play, and I might have an opportunity to go play in the NFL. So I really want to take the offer, but I really want to focus and see if I can actually exploit this opportunity. And exactly that happened, where I finished my senior year and I actually ended up dropping out. But really the moral of that story was I had an opportunity and I focused solely on taking advantage of all the aspects of that opportunity. And the opportunity at the time were my education in football. And I was able to extract that to a point to get me to my next opportunity, which ended up being the NFL and a job offer for my degree that I was going into.
Austin, how did you balance it all? Because obviously, like you described there, education had to be the number one priority because the education was the ticket to staying there and football was the ticket to increasing your scholarship. Like, so how did you balance the two?
It really wasn't a balance, as you would say, like, oh, like you need to have like a work-life balance. Like that, I don't know what that means because we all have a different capacity to work. We all have a different capacity to perform the capabilities that we have. And for me, I had been growing up in an environment where we worked a lot and we worked often. Sometimes it was fun, sometimes it was not. And guess what? Once I got on my own, just knowing that, and that's how I operate, it was the same thing for myself. It was, I love working out. I love football. I don't always love school, but guess what? It's probably what's going to continue to help me fend for myself in the future and provide an opportunity for me to get paid in some type of field. And so it was more of the same for me when I got on my own. And it was just an opportunity for me to practice what I had already learned through my childhood. And so the balance wasn't necessarily balanced. I remember one time it was like our like Spring Fest and we had like a concert on campus and stuff like that. And I remember watching people out and it was raining and there was a concert going on and I'm out here looking out over this, like our weight room that looks over this field and I'm in the weight room working out while everyone's out there partying. And for me, I was so at peace. Like I remember that vividly because I was like, man, like I'm in here trying to continue to build for myself. Like I understand that's their version of fun, but this is my version of fun, which is building myself up and trying to get to the next opportunity. And, you know, you can ask even my fiance now, like balance isn't really a thing as far as work-life balance. You know, for her, I definitely prioritize her, but really for me, it's balancing what matters. And what matters to me is having opportunities to express all the aspects of an opportunity to get to the next one. And so hopefully in that, I'm increasing my capabilities so that the opportunity is some magnitude bigger.
Austin, you start to like get like nibbles at the sense that the NFL might come calling, but you don't get drafted. How do you kind of pick up the pieces after that and kind of begin to process and move forward? Because obviously you went on to become an undrafted free agent. You signed with the Chargers in 2017, but you're not coming into training camp, you know, like a top pick with all this fanfare. You're coming into training camp, you know, an undrafted free agent. How did you kind of put the disappointment of not being drafted after you thought it was a possibility behind you and get your mindset into training camp?
Yeah, first of all, there was never a moment of disappointment in my life for not being drafted. And really the reasoning behind that is because for me, my next opportunity, however big it was coming out of college, I had no idea what it was going to be. And for me, I just knew that I was happy that there was one. And the fact that I had an opportunity to go and attempt to make the NFL roster was something that I was more than happy to go and commit myself to. And as I said, I have no balance. That's exactly what I did. I dropped out before I graduated because I was like, you know what? If this is an opportunity, I'm in. And I'm not just in like, oh, let me get it done. Like, no, I'm committing. I'm going to go live right next to my training facility. I'm going to go flip and train. And as these scouts were calling my coach, they're trying to figure out what's wrong with me. They're trying to figure out why I'm at a Division II school because I had amazing numbers. They're like, you know, is he not very intelligent? Is he getting in trouble with the law? Like, why is this guy Division II? And it's the same reason that I got overlooked going from college or from high school to college is the same reason I, you know, probably got overlooked from college to the pros. It's because the things that separate me aren't measurable. You can't measure how much I'm going to commit to the process of being efficient and being consistent. And yeah, you can measure what my body looks like. You can measure all those things. And guess what? Those are pretty good too if you look at my measurables. But the thing that separates Austin Ekeler, the reason I'm going into year 7 as an undrafted player is because I have been in a relentless pursuit to better myself, my own capabilities, not even to get better at football, just to be a better human, just to continue to make sure that I'm on it as far as my mental, my physical, and bringing that together to put out some product. It's made me a better football player because that's how I attack my life. And so going into my rookie year, it was exactly the same thing. This is an opportunity for me to go and immerse myself into an opportunity, see how much we can get out of this. And if I am able to do that, guess what? I'm gonna have no regret because that's everything. And after my last preseason game, we just got done with our preseason. After my last preseason game, I got asked, Austin, how do you think you did? And I said, you know what? I don't know what the result's going to be, but I know that that's every ounce of Austin Ekeler that you could have got. And if it doesn't work, I'll go do something else. But if the chips fall in the right place, then I'll be here. And it's exactly how I felt. So wasn't sad that I didn't get drafted. I was just more so appreciative of the opportunity to go and further my football career.
It's so powerful, Austin, to appreciate every opportunity and not wallow in disappointment because something didn't go maybe as it went for others or maybe according to like the traditional plan. It's such a powerful mindset that I know you're applying to so many things. And like you said, there's a lot of things about you that have made you successful that you just can't measure. One thing that you can measure is touchdowns. And you led the NFL in 2021 and 2022 in touchdowns. And I'm curious, now that you've had such extraordinary success from a statistical standard in the NFL, how do you keep raising the bar and sustain success?
Yeah. As far as raising the bar, I think that becomes a result of the work that you put in. And so what I mean by that is every single year I get asked, hey, Austin, what are your goals? Like, what are your goals for this year? And it's never numbers. Like, it's never tangible numbers. My goal for every year is to stay consistent and stay efficient in the role that I currently have. And if I'm able to do that, my role will expand. And so when it comes down to like touchdowns, like I'm not out there trying to set a new record for touchdowns, but what I am trying to do is be the most efficient runner, run hard and fall forward, and run through some people out there. And so that's my goal. That's my mentality when I'm running. That's my goal every single time I'm on the field, is to put that type of insight. So it's not necessarily having a goal to raise the bar. Raising the bar should be a result of your goals, from my perspective. And so that is making sure you're training the right way, making sure you're studying, preparing the right way, making sure your preparation is at a point where the result of it is going to be something that hopefully is better than what it was in the past. And you can do that because you have had that past experience. So I know what it takes to lead the league. I know how I need to prepare to lead the league in these statistics because I've done that before and I've had that result. So let me do that again. But now also, what else can I add on top of that? If there's anything, and it might not be anything, it might just be continue to sustain, but to maintain this high level of play. And, there's a aspect of luck in there, aspect of timing that plays into that as well, as far as how the actual results play out. But if you consistently apply yourself and all the knowledge and all the preparation that you possibly can, then that should be the goal. And then hopefully, the bar is raised because of that. So that's how I approach it. And that's how I approach it with all the opportunities that I have. Because I don't always know everything. But guess what? If you start with that type of mentality, I could tell you what, you're going to go in there and you're going to grow.
Do you track inputs? It's clear that you're not focused on the outputs, right? Like the specific outputs. You're focused on putting in the right ingredients and the right inputs every single day, every single hour that if you do all those things, build to tremendous outcomes. Is that how you're thinking about it?
Yes. You still have a vision. I still have a vision for myself. It's not that I'm going blind out here and just working and hoping things happen. You definitely have to have a plan. But most of the effort and energy goes into setting up the actual, like even just taking my day, right? How can I be the most efficient in my day? So I have people right now, it used to be me, but I have people that are putting together my schedule. All right, let's do these calls. I just talked to my restaurant before this. I talked to my foundation, talking to you on this podcast. I have another podcast after this. How can we make this the most efficient that we can? Take that to football. All right. What do we need? I need to be doing in the off season. Okay. I need to be working out 4 times a week. I'm tracking all of the things that I can do in the moment that will affect the future. And I'm using my past experiences to actually formulate what's going to be the best scenario based off of what I've gone through. Did that work? Did that not work? Did I like that? And so for me, I keep doing the things that I liked and that worked. And then, the past will continue to formulate what types of inputs we're going to be putting in the future. And then you just continue to follow this train of, okay, Let's manipulate the schedule a little bit more. How can we be more efficient? What do I need to do to maintain? And how can I put more things into the now that can give me a higher projection in the future?
It's incredible, Austin. And anybody listening, regardless of what somebody does, can learn something from that right there. I mean, we can always optimize. We can always get more organized. We can always stack things on top of things in a more intelligent and efficient way to power our success. You're so versatile on the field, but we've alluded to it also through our conversation. You're so versatile in what you do off the field. You've got a massive real estate portfolio. You've got the Austin Ekeler Foundation. You've got the Eksperience app, which is super cool and innovative. I'm curious, how do you decide what you're going to take on and where you're going to challenge yourself off the field?
Ooh, that's a great question. Because for me, it's funny because I'm like, I still don't know what I want to do as far as like a job, because I don't think I have a job that I want to do. And I thought about that one day and I was like, what do I want to do? And it came down to continuing to kind of really develop like the Austin Ekeler character. And so now I find myself in situations where I'm seeking opportunities that I maybe haven't got into yet, but I have the means to actually put structure around it and make it something. And so that's where I've been really guided. Like my North Star is like, what are the resources around me based off of the team that I've built, based off of the people that I know, based off of the experiences I've had and what I have learned about and what I have a passion for. And so if you can see all the things that I have going on, most of them revolve around community building and giving some type of value back to a greater community base. And using, my foundation for an example, our mission is to put tangible resources back into the community. And so it's a one resource, but multiple people can use it. For my app Eksperience, it's an opportunity for fans to engage with an influential person, right? And if you look at, my fantasy football podcast, it's an opportunity for fans to interact with somebody in the fantasy space. The list continues on. I'm starting a Discord server. I'm building a website that kind of accumulates all of the pro athletes' ventures so you can do like research on them. So it's all community based for me. And that's where I've been continuing to build the resources around me to do more of those types of things. And so that's where my opportunities tend to come in because I'm putting that type of energy out there. And that's where I'm putting effort in as far as my learning capacity and my ability capacity.
You're not just a connector, Austin. You're an authentic connector. I mean, you can just feel it, talking to you. You can see it on all your social platforms and everything that you're doing. What do you credit most to it's a unique ability to connect authentically with people in a genuine, authentic way. Like I said, authentic. What do you credit the most with that?
Wow. I would say it's the journey of me going from really small town to really small town and getting support from my small town and actually truly appreciating that people were supporting me. And then going to LA where that support really blossomed. And I took those same principles that I lived by in my small town, as far as appreciating even the 4 or 5 people that come and say hi to me after a game in high school. And I've taken that same principle that I live by, and now I apply it on a bigger stage, because the importance of all of these platforms, I've realized and I've noticed as I've gotten older and more mature, it always comes back to the community, comes back to people actually caring about it. If people don't care about it, it doesn't exist. The only reason I get to play the NFL sport and make this much money and have this much exposure is because people care about this stuff. And so for me, that's where I have understood where that's the real value in the NFL platform is the fans. Because we can go out there. People go out and play all types of sports. They're not getting fan value. They're professionals at all types of sports. I'm a professional football player. I just happen to be in a sport where people really love it. And I really appreciate that. And so I want to give some part of me back to say thank you. That's where that authenticness comes from for me, I think, that's kind of been my journey where I've really loved the support. And I understand that that's the real value of this platform. And then, if you dive deeper into it, I've been very fortunate to be on a path where I've had opportunities to continue to progress myself. And I want to give that back in some type of way, in some aspects of all the things that I'm doing, whether that's access to myself, access to other people, access to resources. And so I think that also plays a factor into why I do the things that I do and why I think the way I think.
When you take on a new initiative or a project, you've talked about so many of them. I'm sure there's others, Austin. Do you get scared? Do you get nervous? Do you get anxious? Like, Or is it just
Yes.
all business? Or do you get nervous?
Yes. I get all of those. And I think it's a good thing. I think I've gotten to a point where I really enjoy pushing my capabilities of trying to start something new and building a team around it. I try not to go overboard. I think you can definitely take that too far, but I really try to imagine it's like I'm living in a box and I'm like trying to push my walls a little bit further every time I start something new. And it's not something that's comfortable, because it would be comfortable just to stay in that box and leave it as it is. But for me, I want to have more impact. I think that's where I find fulfillment in life, is creating an impact. And I've learned that from a lot of people that I've connected with that are very successful, that have way more money and way more impact than me. They're like, once you started to figure out that, okay, money's great, but impact is more important, then it really switched their fulfillment in their life. And they actually started caring a lot more about the projects that they did. And so I've really started to learn from that. And now the projects that I do, they still make me nervous because I don't know everything about them. Like this app I'm trying to build right now. I'm in the tech space. I'm trying to help connect people together and get an opportunity to meet people that you're a fan of. And for me, I don't know much about the tech space, but I'm learning about people. I'm bringing experts in, and I'm nervous because I'm paying for this thing, and it's working, but then there's things that set us back and we need new experts. And so the fact is I'm being challenged, but the reason I can put up with the challenge is because I'm up for learning about it and trying to conquer those. And so it's not like something that's just a challenge in my life and it feels like a burden and it's not really getting any attention. It's an opportunity for me to continue, like I've said, to increase my capabilities and learn. And so that having that feeling really takes the edge off of how stressful it is. But I love being stressed when it comes to the point of, hey, you need to get something done because the team relies on you.
Austin, you've been so generous with your time. I know you're busy with the season getting ready to kick off here. My last question for you is, when you go 50 years into the future, how do you want people to describe Austin Ekeler?
Wow. 50 years is a long time, but really I think it comes back to someone who's impacted the world and helped a person who's advocated to help people be better versions of themselves. That's really what I think drives me now in this position that I am, where I have some type of relevance, and I want to continue to help build that within people by helping them become a version of themselves. What do I mean by that? I really want to continue to use the platforms that I'm involved in, build some of my own platforms to help people become this thing that they don't necessarily know, but they know they're working towards something. Because I think in this world right now, there's so many things going on, and it's not always clear for a lot of people, which is a good and a bad thing. And I want people to really switch the way they think. And just because you don't know what you want to do, you don't know which direction you're going, that doesn't mean that you're failing. It doesn't mean that you're in a bad situation. You just need to switch it and treat it like an opportunity for you to grow into that. Because until you really switch the way you think, you're going to be destructive to yourself. If you think of these things like, my 9-to-5 sucks, I hate doing this. Like, no, this is the opportunity for you to get to your next opportunity that hopefully is better or more towards what you want to do, or more towards that fulfilling feeling in your life. And so I want to help people be more constructive with their thoughts, and hopefully that helps make their life a little bit better, and hopefully continues to knock down dominoes for society as a whole.
And there is no question you are well on your way. And there's also no question that you are a tarp puller. You are forever a part of the Everybody Pulls the Tarp family here on this show. And there's no question you lead by example. You go above and beyond. You do all of the things, regardless of what the job description says. You pull the tarp. Austin Ekeler, this has been a ton of fun. I wish you absolutely massive success this season on the field and in all your endeavors. And I hope we can catch up again soon and see where everything continues to go on your journey, Austin. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me on. And I just want to say thank you to you as well, because it's people like you that help me and a whole bunch of others get our voice out there. So we need people like yourselves to keep doing this. And I know content's not an easy task, so keep it up, man.
Austin, thank you so much. We'll catch up again soon.
Sounds good, brother.
Thank you for joining me this week. Be sure to subscribe in your favorite podcast app so you can catch all of our upcoming episodes. And if you are like me and want a world full of tarp pullers, then leave a review to help others find us. You can also follow me on Twitter at Andrew H. Moses. That's Andrew H. Moses. And be sure to sign up for my email newsletter at everybodypullsthetarp.com/newsletter. I'll share tips and insights to help you achieve maximum success and happiness. Today is a great day to pull the tarp. I am rooting for you. See you next time.